And welcome back to Blueshirts Buzz, where we talk everything New York Rangers. I'm your host, Matt Piscazzi, with my co-host, John Horton. Definitely check out our Twitter at BlueBuzz26, and let's hop right into today's episode. So, a lot of stuff to cover. And with that being said, want to apologize for a little bit of a delay in our release here. Life gets in the way sometimes. We do have all sorts of things going on in our everyday today. We love to get on here and get away from the everyday and give you guys some content. But every now and then we get caught up in life in the shuffle. So nonetheless, here we are. We are excited to get another one out to you. Like I said, we have plenty of stuff to talk about. We had 3 games since our last episode, one of those being the game against the Jets that we had highlighted in our previous episode ad nauseum for a number of reasons, as I'm sure you're all very aware. But before we get into the games and storylines and everything that we want to get into here, how you doing, John?
Doing pretty well. Rangers have been on a decent stretch. Some bumps recently, despite what their record may show, and we're going to get into that today.
Yeah.
As a New York fan in general, for football, I'll have to quickly throw in because it is exciting, but a little numb to it. The Daniel Jones era in New York
Yeah.
Giants football is officially over. No, he has not been cut from the team yet, but all the precautions thrown around him show that, and we'll get into the details of that because this is not a football podcast. This is a hockey podcast, but I just had to say that. So, New York Rangers currently are 6th in the Eastern Conference, 11-4-1, 23 points. Coming down the stretch, there were some issues. Laviolette has been making adjustments left and right, mainly on the defense. We've been having problems. Lindgren has stopped wearing the bubble recently. I still think he should have been put on some type of IR and maybe Mancini take it over for him, but maybe we will see. We had a whole discussion on that too, and like dropping Truba down even more would be nice. Maybe even off the team, but again, not possible. But
In an
the
ideal
game
world,
is
right?
yeah, exactly. The games covering for this episode would be the Winnipeg Jets game that they lost 3-6, the Sharks game that they won 3-2, and the Kraken game they won 2-0. We are recording this before the Canucks game because that goes on late tonight because of the
Yep.
West
West
Coast
Coast road trip.
aspect. Hopefully they come out on top of that. The Canucks don't look anywhere as lethal as they did last year, but we'll see how Igor plays. But
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find a way
yeah,
to make this game more difficult than it needs to be.
yeah, that's very true. So good news for Filipino was injured. He ran into Keandre Miller. Stupid play, absolutely brain dead play,
Mm.
dumb, stupid accident. And of course, in Filipino fashion, which I know not his fault, running into Miller was his fault, but his health is not his fault. He was put. Well, he's not put on IR or anything like that. He's injured. He's not practicing, but Laviolette did give an update that he will be traveling with the team when they go to Calgary on Thursday, the 21st of November. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of hope that he'll play, but at least he'll be traveling. They said he doesn't have a concussion, which is good, but probably some type of protocol because I don't see how you run into a teammate, get up wobbly, and then go to the locker room and then not come back and then not play the
Yeah,
following game.
especially with his history.
Yeah, and which we already knew he probably would never play a full season again. The hopes would be just like how much could he play, and what type of play he does bring to the table when he is there. And so far, it's been what we've expected, which is awesome. It's just the health is just so concerning. On a human level as well, but from a sports level, it's very frustrating. And I know he is probably the most frustrated person when it comes to
Yeah.
that. No surprise, but um, so we beat the Sharks, right? We beat the Kraken, expected. We have struggled against quote unquote playoff teams so far this season. Mainly also the Jets game. The Jets are the best team, best record in the league right now. And can't really put it any other way than getting spanked. We got spanked that game. The team up and down the stretch looked pretty bad. They didn't really show a lot of hustle or effort as soon as they got stuffed a few times by Connor Hellebuyck, which is classic for this team. And Igor didn't get a lot of help, but he also stunk this game. He played pretty horribly. Again, we lost 3-6, got outplayed up and down the stretch. I don't know how you're feeling, but it is kind. I know it's only November, but it is concerning as a trend for a
Mhm.
team like this where they get frustrated very easily, they get shut down very easily, and they kind of just have this level of content and just not really blowing past an opponent that kind of shuts them out. Some usually, last year we saw with the President's Trophy and starting the playoffs 7-0, they did have that spark, so we know they have it in them. But more often than not, they kind of just if they get stuffed too many times, if their chances get reduced, they kind of just give up, which is it's bullshit and it's unacceptable. But no coach has been able to change that about this core. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just going to throw my hands up because I don't know. There's just nothing else that can be
Yeah.
done. It's been 3 years of the same thing in and out, and they show no care to do anything other than that. So I don't know what if you were Peter Laviolette, if you morphed into him right now, or what you would do or what you would think, because we still have yet to beat, besides the Maple Leafs, maybe like a playoff contending team, so to speak.
Well, we haven't been overly convincing in the way that we've won these games either. Like, because you could look at some of the other wins and been like, oh, well, the Islanders were a bubble team, or the Red Wings are a bubble team when we kind of spanked them a couple times. Like, you could be like, oh yeah, we beat some of these better teams, but it's like even when we get those wins, it's not in a convincing fashion. Everything we've done, like I said when we kind of mentioned the Canucks game, I'm sure we'll find a way to make that game more difficult than it needs to be because that's kind of seems to be the storyline here. To just run through those 3 games really quickly and then kind of get into some of those storylines. Of course, the 2 wins are really nice, but again, was not overly pleased or convinced with either of those wins, particularly the Sharks game. I did think that Igor played really well. I thought that he could have gotten a shutout. Those couple games that the Sharks scored were super fluky. The Kraken game, I think that we were a lot more impressive, but it was also off of another quick, like a Jonathan Quick back-to-back shutout, and some of the saves he had to make in that game were saves you never want to have to see your goalie make because they don't make those saves, the large portion of the time, and you end up with that puck in the back of the net. So that game very easily could have been closer. That could have been a game that we lost if we didn't get that play from our backstop, and that's something that we've seen throughout the year here is that our defense has been inconsistent and the goalies have made up for it. And then you look at a game like a game against the Jets where Igor was not able to do that and be that backstop and kind of make up for all of our mistakes because the Jets are an immense team. They're an absolute unit, one of the better, probably the best defensive unit in hockey right now with best goalie in hockey right now to back them up. And they don't have problems scoring. Look at the scoreline. I know it's a little bit skewed. They did get that empty netter, but nonetheless, that like you had kind of highlighted, we kind of fall down, we get disheartened, everything like that. It's very reminiscent of how we played against the Panthers. And it is a trend that we've seen when we play top teams in this league. And it's very disheartening. I'm also kind of like, I don't even know what to do or what to say at this point because the team is very clearly capable of blowing past that boundary of getting those wins. We've got those wins in the past. They've shown us that they can win those games in the past. We won the President's Trophy last year. You don't win the President's Trophy by losing to playoff teams. Quite frankly, you win it by beating those teams and beating them in the standings, right? Like you have to win those games. And we did. And we were able to win some of those games in the playoffs. And we were able to show up and do what we needed to do. What I really think is a problem is the fancy crap. I mean, if I have to see us miss one more open net because we're trying to go for top corner,
Yeah.
that is something that we've talked about a lot with Mika, but I think it's something that this team struggles with as a whole. We are one of the more skilled rosters in hockey in terms of like skill players at positions, right? Like you could look at other teams, they have guys that are more skilled than some of our guys. I'm not saying we have the most skilled guys in the league, but I'm saying that we are a very, very talented team. We are not a team that plays like this rough and tumble physical game because we don't have the skill to like the skill. No, we have the skill and we back that up with our play and some of the amazing plays that we see from these players. But the thing is, when you get away from the fundamental north-south, get the puck up the ice and get shots on net, when you get away from that like formula, I think that's when we really struggle because you get all these chances and you get stonewalled by a Hellyabuck or you get stonewalled by a Bob in net. And then they're like scratching their head. They're like, oh, well, I just tried this 360 no scope, left, right, deke, backhand, no looker, and it got saved. So he's obviously going to save every shot I ever put near him. So I need to try harder. And it's like, no, just keep doing what you're doing. Get the shots on net. One of them's going to go in. It's going to hit a skate. It's going to bounce off a back. It's going to hit a helmet. Who knows what's going to happen? But we get very easily disheartened and they get away from simple fundamental hockey. And that's an issue that I've seen That's the one thing I think I can kind of point my finger at. Other than that, it is just a clear lack of motivation and hustle at times. But again, I
Mhm.
think if they just get back to the fundamentals, there's no reason they can't blow past that barrier and stay competitive and stay in these games. Because quite frankly, a lot of the goals that we end up getting scored against us in those tight situations are off of stupid turnovers when we're trying a no-look backhander or a cross-ice pass or a freaking fake slap pass shot deflection thing. It's like, no, get the puck on your stick, get the puck off your stick, get up ice. Like it's at a certain point, you just have to play north-south hockey and just get pucks on net and see what happens. And so we've seen a little bit more of that in recent games. We've seen Mika picking that up as well, which has been nice. So I would like to see more of that. And I think that would be a way for a lot of these players to maybe kind of get in the right headspace, because it's clearly a mental thing. There's no reason that we need to take the foot off the gas and struggle in these games in the way that we do. And it's very disappointing. But again, I think if we just get back to some of the fundamentals, some of those things will kind of fall into place and fix themselves. So that's my hope. At least that's my spiel on those games. I know you had highlighted the Jets game as well, but any other thoughts on those three games? And then if you want to give us kind of your first storyline or trend you've seen in these games that we can kind of dive into, because there's been a lot of good stuff as well. I don't want to you look at the record, you look at those couple wins, like we are in a good spot. Again, we are being very critical. We've put ourselves in a position where like we're not doing too bad. But the thing is that we can play so much better. It's kind of like we're like
Yeah.
here and we
Yeah.
need to find that next level, because we are absolutely capable of taking that next step and being up here as a top team in this league. And that's what we need to see. So I'm curious what you're thinking about, some trends and things that you've seen over these past few games and things we can improve on, also things that we've done really well.
Yeah, I am thinking about a lot. And I want to get into it in a lot of great detail. But before I think about that, I need to think about some sponsors we have for today. Just to
Absolutely.
start
Fair
off.
point. Good segue. I
Oh
like it.
man, I got to embrace the podcasting and do that. I'm so sorry for everybody listening. Probably
We try to
either
be a little creative about
rolled
how
their
we do
eyes
this
at
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. But here we go. Starting off with none other than DraftKings Sportsbook. The 2024-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bets win, of course. And that is by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bets win when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
And there's nothing quite like the experience of a live NHL game. The chill of the ice, the sound of a big hit or a slap shot. Every year I try to go to as many games as possible. This year I can't wait to get to more games, and with Game Time, that'll be easier than ever. Game Time also has tickets for all sorts of live sporting and music events, not just the NHL. And with Game Time picks, you can get the best deal in the shortest time. Right now, there's tons of deals on Game Time for you or your friends and family to enjoy. Check them out. You can download the app and buy tickets right from your phone. Game Time has great features like panoramic seat views to make sure you love your seats before you buy them, the Game Time lowest price guarantee, or their ticket coverage policy that provides the most flexible customer service policy in the industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time, baby.
Absolutely. And our final sponsor here from Raycon Earbuds. Yeah, so I'm not using them right now, but I do know other people who have bought them, who have used them. You see them all the time, and they're
Good
a
product.
great competing product. Because with Raycon, you can get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year, but that doesn't mean they're not having sales for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Far from it. It's coming down the pike. They're actually doubling down on amazing value sales by offering viewers up to 30% site wide. Um, let me for example, they now feature new features include a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. Raycon's everyday earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. It's a feature that's a must-have for anybody, including myself. Um, uh, because I'm sorry, what else am I throwing in here? This is a big, big paragraph here. Raycon's quality also rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio. Raycon starts at just half the price as the other guys, so they're already an incredible deal, even before you factor in the Black Friday Cyber Monday offer of up to 30% off site wide. Raycon earbuds, everyday earbuds are also available in a variety of vibrant colors, so that way you don't have to just keep the standard issue white or black earbuds sticking out of your ears. Um, now is the perfect time to scoop them up if you haven't already. And don't worry if you're not as impressed as I am. Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. And so it's time to save big for Black Friday Cyber Monday deals by go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site wide. That's right, 30% off when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. Hopefully you'll be happy you did. I completely butchered the living hell out of that one, but moving on to
The deal stands nonetheless. 30% off
talking
site
points.
wide. Use code
Yeah.
THPN.
Thank you. All right, so talking points here. Starting with
I know, because we're gonna have a lot of the same one. That's why I thought it'd be.
yeah.
We'll go
Yeah.
back and forth at a couple in here. I mean, there's like I said, there's been some bad stuff. There's also been some good stuff. So
There has
we do
been some
have,
good stuff.
yeah, we do have some good stuff as well. So
I'll start with the middle of the road stuff, which is
okay,
just is it time to hit the panic button for this team when it comes to defensive pairs and Filipino? Again, we've talked about Filipino. He'll probably never play a full season again. It's just the unfortunate truth of the situation.
yeah,
I think the team is going to take his health into consideration a lot more. Excuse me, a lot more so than other players, which you've seen right now with their precaution for him in the Calgary game. Oh my god, excuse me. And when it comes to the defensive pairs, the declining play of Ryan Lindgren and Jacob Trouba, I would like to think Ryan Lindgren more so because of the injuries, Trouba just because he sucks and I hate him. And I think I think Laviolette needs to figure out a way to keep people where they need to be on the pairs and not jumble it up so much. I think the only time you really need to jumble up lines is if it looks like horrendous. If it looks like the metrics are bad, you're getting beat left and right because the Miller Truba metrics have been horrible, and we've been trying that for years. And I absolutely pull my hair out every time I see it. I'm gonna be bald soon because of how many times they keep trying it together. I don't know why they keep doing it. I would literally rather have like anybody else on a defensive pair than that, please, for the love of God. Miller has been wildly inconsistent this season. Last 2 games or so, he's been trying to clean it up, which is great. He's a great draft pick. I think he shows a lot of promise. The last couple of seasons, he's been a really solid player for us. For whatever reason, to start this season off, he's been kind of a pain in the ass to watch. He's been making dumb
I
plays.
think his focus has been a
Um,
little bit too much
yeah,
in the offensive zone for
yeah,
sure.
that too.
He's been getting caught out a
Absolutely.
lot.
Yeah, being caught out, pinching too late, relying on his reach too much, rather like he's a very skilled player. I have a coworker who actually went to the Winnipeg Jets game, and he was like he every time I see him at work, he's always talking about. He's like, I don't understand what's up with Keandre Miller. He's just so brutal to watch recently. Like I'll watch him do these crazy, cool, like clearing moves or like the way he skates
Yeah.
down the ice. It's like I know you're skilled, I know you have the talent. So why is it not translating like where it should be? Like he's just overthinking his game, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Fox is Fox. Schneider's been looking better and better. He could be a little consistent at times just because he's throwing on different lines all the time, which I feel bad, but I think he's going to have a forward trajectory. Zach
Oh
Jones
yeah.
has been really good. Thank God he's been getting more playing time. He's been really, really working his ass off,
Yeah.
and I think he should just stay in the lineup for the rest of the year. And Lindgren's regressing because of injuries, but also just type of the play he has. I hope he can just kind of clean it up. And Truba sucks. I don't have anything else to say on Truba. Like he just blows. And he blocks shots. Whoop-de-doo. Thank you. Appreciate it. Block shots are. I mean, I can't really say was whoop-de-doo as much as I'd like to. Block shots are very valuable in the NHL, but I just hate the guy, and I hate the price tag that's hanging off him. But those are mine to start. Yeah.
Fair enough. And I guess I'll piggyback off of the defense real quick because a couple of my points were specifically about the defense. And one that you had hit on that I wasn't going to hit on, but I guess I'll just get a quick comment in because it's the Miller stuff, and it just buys right into all this talk that we've been having about this team, about how they're overthinking it and trying to make the fancy play, and you see that with him. It's like, okay, we know you can make that play, but you don't need to every single opportunity that arises, because then you start turning over the puck, you start driving the play too far, you turn over the puck behind, you're behind the blue line, and excuse me, behind the goalie, pinching the play in the offensive zone. And well, there's a 3-on-2, there's a 4-on-3, whatever the case is, because, you can't get back fast enough. And so that's something I think if we could see him try and just make the simple play first and then make those other plays when they're there, I think that's something that we've seen from this team as a whole. Again, is just not making the simple play and trying too hard sometimes. But Zach Jones has really been a revelation, though. I mean, he has been, I don't want to say revelation because we've seen some really good stuff from him. I think last year, there was a stretch there where we played like, it was maybe like 8 or 10 games like straight and was really, really good. And then we saw him kind of get a game here and there, get scratched a lot, for different lineup reasons, different guys. We had Gustafson at the time as well, so things looked a little bit different. But nonetheless, he has been really, really good. And him and Schneider have been working really, really well together. I think that the addition of Zach Jones as that power play 2 quarterback as well, it was a really good idea. I really like that power play 2 has been getting more time this year as well. So I think that's a great opportunity for him to show off some of his skills, because he has some serious, serious talent with the puck. And he's been playing some good defense to boot as well. So really, really impressed with him. They've been Him and Schneider, they is who I'm referring to, have just been a really fun pair to watch. They've been pretty consistent. They've made some really good decisions. The Truba and Lindgren, I mean, Lindgren's gonna, like, hopefully now that the bowl's off, Lindgren can play a little bit better. Like, it's hard to see when you have the full cage. You're a little nervous, you're a little scared. Like, it's different, right? Like, you're not used
Mm-hmm.
to having. It's also like claustrophobic. Like, it's hard to breathe. It's hard to see. It bogs up. Like, I get that. So maybe now that the bowl's off, he'll be doing a little bit better. I'm still in the mindset with you where maybe we should have just thrown him on IR for a few games and given him a chance to like fully get back. I think, but after signing him to that 1-year deal in the offseason, the pressure was like, we got to get him out there as soon as possible. We need him on defense. I still think we could have gave Mancini a couple more games to cook, but we're not the coaching staff, we're not the guys in the locker room. So here we are. Nonetheless, if we could see Lindgren and Truba just play serviceable minutes, like that's all we need. Like, we're not asking them to do anything crazy either. Like, if they could just be consistently okay, that's fine. The rest of the D and the forwards can pick up the slack. We are a good team. We have a good enough goalie. We just need you not to make huge mistakes, which we have seen them make, unfortunately. So hopefully we can kind of get that. But with all that being said, I'm happy that we're back to these pairs here, with the pairs being Fox and Miller, Lindgren Truba, and Jones Snyder. I think if we could keep our pairs this way and just let these guys get comfortable playing consistent minutes with each other, we could give the D a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of come together as a whole unit and perform night in, night out. So that's my whole spiel on the D. And then I think I'll segue into another topic here that I'm curious your thoughts on. I like the lineup back to the way it was. I'm glad that we're not doing this shifting around anymore. I think it's interesting that we did so much of that shifting and then we ended up with the same lineup that we're pretty familiar with regardless. But it's been, it's kind of lit a spark under some of these guys. I think specifically the second line's happy to be back together. Laugh and Panarin and Trocheck, that chemistry was on very easy to see in the game against the Kraken in particular. The passes, the vision, the just the presence of mind. I mean, that pass from Panarin to Laugh on his goal was just incredible. So I'm really happy that the second line's back together, and I also have been impressed with Mika back on that first line with Smith and Kreider. Him and Kreider also shorthanded. The chemistry is clearly there. I think it's Mika's been doing a lot of the legwork in the background as well. So it's been nice to see those guys start to gel and start to produce a little bit more. And so without Hito on that third line, the third line certainly doesn't look as good. But even with Brodzinski on there, they've been getting chances. He's always got a sneaky, nasty shot that you never really know when it's going to come as well. So, and the fourth line has been incredible. I mean, they've been giving us like key minutes. You can throw them out there as a shutdown line. You could throw them out there to win an offensive zone faceoff. You could throw them out in special teams. I mean, what can't that fourth line do? And so if we can do those things consistently night in and night out, we could be one of the best teams in hockey. It's just again about consistency. But with all that being said, I'm happy to see the lineup back in these lines that we're used to seeing, deep pairs that we're comfortable with at this point. Curious your thoughts about that, and then if you had any other storyline you wanted to hop into.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, top to bottom. I think the way the lineups were at the start of the season were excellent. I understand to some degree why Laviolette was jumbling them, just
Mhm.
because Mika's been.
You're trying to find a spark and stuff too. Like
Yeah,
I get it, but it's at a
yeah.
certain point. It's like there's no
Stop.
spark. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, like Mika's regression is very upsetting, and Laviolette, of course, knows like what we know as fans, like him as the coach. Like Mika is a leadership member. He
Mhm.
is a core member. He is a top guy in this team. We cannot afford, for this team to be a contender, for this team to try and get all the way to the top, we cannot afford him to suck. Like, also just because of his contract. Like, you know, even regardless of his contract, we just can't afford for him to suck. So I understand Laviolette trying to do what he can to get things going, but like, to your point, like if there's no spark, there's no spark, and if it
Yeah.
isn't broken, don't fix it. Absolute all-time classic cliche
Yeah.
catchphrase that just makes perfect sense. I think you're not going to win every, like, as fans, we want to win all 82 games, right? No,
Mhm.
nobody's going to think otherwise, but we're going to lose minimum 20 games, probably, like the minimum. And some of them might be blowouts, some of them might be nail biters. All that matters is at the end of the day is like consistency. We're coming on that 20 game interval that I like to judge teams, do a little breakdown. When we get to that, we'll have an episode where I can get some stats together and we can just read off how that team's been. And I find that really enjoyable, and I think that's fair because of the 82 games. Every 20 games, you just see like how they've been performing in a stretch, or you can do it by months. That's kind of how I did it last year. Before we switched over to this show fully, like I just on their schedule, I just did the each month what their record was, and you could see like that every month they were pretty dominant except one.
Yeah.
I think it was February was the no, it was January was a bad month. But not even in terms of bad for them, it was like not terrible. So
Yeah. I mean, we won the President's Trophy.
yeah, exactly. Made it to game 6. Oh man. I pray we get that close again. But yeah, this team needs to lock in. It's a long season. I'm glad the lines are back together. I think they should just stay the way they are. Brodzinski, I don't hate Brodzinski. I think he's a solid AHL, NHL journeyman.
Mhm.
Um, are there better options? Absolutely. Do we have the luxury of those options? No. Does he do what he's told? Yes. And he's available. Doesn't really get injured.
Yeah.
Keeps his nose clean for the most part. And I think that's impressive. Um, the last talking point storyline going forward with this is, Igor's been good, but not 11.5 good, in my opinion, recently. I know it's just a fun thing to throw in. We don't have to get
Yeah.
into that. But Jonathan Quick has been an excellent backup goaltender
Oh, he's
so
been so
far.
so
He's only
good.
played he's only played 4 games, but like right now, he's 4-0-0. Excuse me, he's made 131 saves out of 135 shots. He has a .970 save percentage, 2 shutouts. And
Yeah.
he has not allowed a goal in 130 minutes of ice time. He's playing well. Well is an understatement.
Yeah.
There's beat writers who are bored and have nothing better to do, and somebody made good points. They might have forgot how old Jonathan Quick is and like what's happening, but they made points like, and also he's only played 4 games, so let's relax. But they're like,
Yeah.
oh, did the Rangers even need to concern themselves with such a big contract for Igor when your backup's playing this well? It's like, listen, he's 39.
Yeah.
He's played 4 games. We
Like
saw
pump the
last year.
brakes. Like
Yeah, pump the brakes. Like he physically can't do a workload of a starting goaltender. Like last season, he was great all of last season, but you could see like near the end of the season, he started to had like more goals were getting chipped away against him as he played more and more games just because of his
mhm.
age, and it's just how it is. Um, I still think one of my biggest gripes with Igor is his availability. I think he doesn't play enough games in a season. I think he kind of has too many
I feel
tear down
like that's
maintenance
more on the
days.
coaching staff though, because
It
like
could be. Yeah, could
I'm
be.
sure he would play it.
I
But
do too.
when you have your backup playing so well as well, there's
Yeah,
not as much pressure to like throw him out there every game and like exhaust him is also like the argument I guess you could make. But
which I do
I
get that.
would love to see Igor play more games though. I mean, especially if you're getting that 11.5, you want to
Exactly.
earn that.
Yeah, I don't think you should
Yeah.
get 11.5 and play under 50 games a season. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
Which is a fair point. And I just the thing that is totally backwards about the whole goalie thing that that you were highlighting that we've been seeing online is like do we even need to pay Igor if your backup's playing so good? And it's like
So stupid.
the guy's coming up on 40. You're not playing him every single day. Like you said, towards the end of last year, we saw some of that wear and tear. Like he's not a starting goalie in this league anymore. He's just not. That's where he is in his career. And nobody's expecting him to be a starting goalie in this league. So that argument is it's just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it's we're going from talking about a goalie who's like in their prime in their late 20s to a goalie who's coming up on 40 and has how many cups? It is a totally different spectrum, totally different places in their career. That is just like, people looking for content, just looking for clicks at that point, honestly, because it really, if you want to even make that kind of conversation about like, oh, well, if your backup's playing good, like, what's this 11.5? It kind of has to be about like, if you have a younger goalie who's like showing promise, you know what I mean? Like if Olaf Lindbaum were in there or like Dylan Garand were our backup and were giving us really good minutes and we were like, oh, like they could be the future in goal. Like maybe we should give them a little bit more opportunity. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a conversation. I still don't think it's a conversation we need to have considering how good Igor is. But again, it's a little bit more of a conversation. But when you get to like the 40-year-old Jonathan Quick, you lose me pretty quickly on that one. Like it's just, you see that stuff online and I just shake my head and I'm like, really? That's the hill you want to die on? Like the goalie stuff. It's funny that all this stuff is still going on too, because I mean, until we get the contract, this is going to be a conversation all year. Just
Nonstop.
Hope we can answer at some point sooner rather than later. But
especially if we don't go all the way, it'll be even more like, okay, well, we couldn't go all the way, so why pay him? And which again, love Igor. I want him on this team. Still think he's asking for too much, but that's me. I think he's asking for way too much comparatively to what everybody else is getting paid in his class.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Jeremy Swayman. He should have never gotten paid that much anyway, and it's proving that.
But I was gonna say, I think we covered pretty much. I mean, I know I had covered all the storylines I had on here. I didn't know if you had any other notes you wanted to cover before we say goodbye on this one.
No, I think I guess fun thing. So we'll have the next episode right before Thanksgiving for everybody. So that'll be the Calgary game, Edmonton game, and the Blues game, Seattle.
Yeah.
STL. No, Jesus. St. Louis is STL, right? Yeah.
The Blues coming up. Yeah.
Seattle Blues, yeah. So we'll do first time goal scorers.
Ooh, okay.
So for Calgary, I'll say Chris Kreider.
Okay. All right. I'd like to type these out actually, because we should go back and look just for our own, because we never do. All right, wait. So let's do first time score Calgary, and then you had I hit some like Windows key or something. My computer's not happy with that. All right, you got Kreids. All right, okay, not a bad pick. Thinking here, give me Trocheck. We haven't seen a ton from him. Like he's been like consistently good, but I feel like there's a level here that we haven't seen him hit. So I'm gonna go Trocheck. I'm gonna hedge my bets on him. And then we have the Blues is the other game, right?
It's Edmonton next.
Right, and then we come home and we play the Blues, yeah.
And I'm gonna go with Panarin.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go with his line mate, Lafreniere.
I was gonna do him, but
I mean, he's been on a tear, man. And him and him and Panarin, I swear we're just playing like keep away with the puck for like half the game and it was insane to watch. And that
he needs
one
power play one time, please.
Oh, he does. Especially like, I mean, I'd hate to do it, but like, can we get Mikko out of the slot? Like
him or Trocheck for laugh.
I know, yeah.
Trocheck's face-offs were just too good.
Oh, he's so good. Especially you just throw him in the slot, like you can't go wrong. And then it's the Blues, right? All right,
Blues. I'm gonna go. I don't even know if he has a goal yet this season. I'm gonna go Fox. Has he scored?
You know what's funny? I was also thinking Adam Fox. He doesn't have a goal this year.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be.
He had that one that he scored that got called back against.
Yeah.
Oh, who was that? Was it against the Red Wings? I can't remember the game, but he did have a goal that got called back. Dang, right. Well, you want Fox? I'm not going to go with Fox. I will go with another defenseman though. I'm going to go off the beaten path and go with Keandre Miller.
Oh, okay.
I think
I
we
like
need
it.
a little bit more offense from our D-men. We haven't seen a ton. I mean, they've been making the good passes, pinching the play in the zone, everything like
They need to
that. But
play
like,
defense first. Is the
well, yeah, ideally. But we're talking about scores here. I
yeah.
think Miller's going to go out there and impress us.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think that's a fun way to end. Yeah, good thing you wrote that down because I
I know
guarantee next
we should
episode we'll
like go
forget.
back and like, yeah, but it's
Yeah,
fun at some point. We'll go back and be like, a
yeah,
good
how
way
right
to
or
think
wrong it
about it or
was.
whatever, and see that we both were not even close. But
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
All right. Yeah. So that's an episode. Thank
awesome,
you,
yeah.
everyone. Yeah. I'll say, a lot to be hopeful for with this team. Again, it's only November. It's only November. Daniel Jones is no longer the Giants quarterback. I also got to throw that in there. If I sound a little monotone this episode, I apologize. I had Popeyes for lunch. It's knocking me out. I'm probably gonna fall asleep early tonight. It's killing me. But as always, love bringing this to you. Blue Buzz 26. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Love all the support that you guys have. Tell your friends, family, and loved ones about the show. Absolutely appreciate it. Shoot it over to Matt. Give his closeout, or if he has nothing to say, whatever he wants to do, I'll give it to
No, I
him.
put it. You put it very well. All things I would say. I mean, I'm not going to get redundant here, but thank you guys. Another great episode here. We are glad to be back here. Had a lot of stuff to cover on our next episode. We'll have plenty of stuff to cover for you guys as well. So stay tuned. Enjoy the games, enjoy the process, enjoy the season. I think it is nice to remind us that as much as we like to be critical and everything, this is probably like the best time of the year. We have hockey, right? I mean, obviously, I think the playoffs and the holiday, there are better times of the year. But what I'm saying is, we have hockey. Let's be grateful. Let's enjoy the time that we do have hockey, because the months that we don't have hockey are significantly less enjoyable. So enjoy the games, enjoy the process, enjoy the good, enjoy the bad. Just watch, enjoy the team, and get on here and listen, and we'll give you our thoughts and comments. And maybe you agree, maybe you don't. But nonetheless, we are very happy to get on here, give you guys plenty of content. We will be back next week with plenty of stuff to talk about. Hopefully, all good stuff. But with that being said, thank you all for another great episode here, and we will catch you on the next one.